I was just about to turn off the lights when I heard a soft whistle coming from my roof. My heart skipped a beat. The clock on my desk ticked past 2 a.m. The silence of the office was only broken by the rhythmic ticking, a constant reminder of the late hour. Another late night at the office. I was used to it. The glow of the city lights outside was a familiar sight, a backdrop to countless hours spent chasing deadlines. Deadlines were deadlines. But tonight felt different. There was an unsettling feeling in the air, a sense of unease that I couldn't quite shake off. A low whistle seemed to seep through the sealed windows. It was faint at first, almost like a lonely wind. I dismissed it as my imagination, a trick of the mind in the quiet of the night. But our office was on the top floor of the tallest skyscraper in the city. What wind could reach us here? The thought lingered, adding to my growing discomfort. I tried to ignore it, focus on my work. The whistle grew louder, more insistent, like it was calling out to me. Each note seemed to pierce the silence, demanding my attention. My curiosity, or maybe it was unease, got the better of me. I walked to the window. The sound was almost hypnotic, drawing me closer with each step. The city lights glittered below like fallen stars. The whistling seemed to be coming from the very top of the building. It was as if the sound had a life of its own, weaving through the night air. But that was impossible. There was nothing but a maintenance hatch up there, right? I hesitated, my mind racing with possibilities. Could it be the wind playing tricks, or was there something more to this eerie sound? The questions swirled in my head, each one more unsettling than the last. I knew I had to find out, to uncover the source of the unearthly whistle that had disrupted my night. With a deep breath, I made my way to the maintenance hatch. The whistle grew louder, almost urgent, as if it knew I was coming. My heart pounded in my chest as I reached for the handle, the cold metal sending a shiver down my spine. What awaited me on the other side? I had no idea, but I was determined to find out. I stepped onto the rooftop, the city sprawling out beneath me. The whistle was deafening now, echoing through the night. I scanned the area, searching for the source. There, in the shadows, something moved. My breath caught in my throat as I took a step closer, the whistle guiding me towards the unknown. I couldn't shake the feeling of unease. The air was charged with invisible tension, making my skin prickle and my heart race. Every shadow seemed to move, every sound amplified. I decided to check it out. Despite the gnawing anxiety, I felt a strange compulsion to uncover the source of my discomfort. I walked towards the elevator, each step echoing in the empty hallway. The elevator ride felt longer than usual. Each ping of the floor indicator echoed my growing anxiety. The confined space heightened my sense of claustrophobia. I counted the seconds until I could step out. I reached the rooftop access door. It loomed larger than life, a barrier between the known and the unknown. It creaked open like an ancient crypt. The night air hit me with a damp chill. I took a deep breath, trying to steady my nerves. The city lights were breathtaking. The sprawling metropolis below looked like a sea of twinkling stars. But the whistling sound was louder now, almost deafening. It was a high-pitched, eerie noise cutting through the night air. It seemed to originate from the maintenance hatch at the center of the roof. The hatch was old and rusted, with a thick padlock securing it. The sight of it sent a shiver down my spine. Strange. It looked like it hadn't been opened in years. Why was it whistling? I leaned in closer, trying to discern the source of the sound. The wind seemed to play tricks on my ears, making the whistling seem almost alive, as if it were calling out to me. For a moment, everything was silent, until I heard it again, closer this time. I cautiously approached the hatch, each step feeling heavier than the last. The night was eerily quiet, save for the occasional rustle of leaves and the distant hum of the city below. My heart pounded in my chest, a relentless drumbeat that echoed in my ears. I could feel the adrenaline coursing through my veins, making my hands tremble. The closer I got, the more insistent the whistling became. It was as if the wind was alive, urging me forward, pulling me towards the unknown. It was almost unbearable. I held my breath, trying to hear anything over the noise. The wind howled, a cacophony of sounds that made it difficult to focus. That's when I noticed it, a faint whisper mixed in with the eerie whistling. It was so subtle, almost lost in the wind's roar, but unmistakable. It was like the wind itself was trying to speak, to convey a message that only I could hear. The whispers grew more distinct, forming words that sent shivers down my spine. The whispers were faint at first, but as I listened closer, I could make out a word. Help. It was a desperate plea, filled with a sense of urgency and fear. My blood ran cold. Who was up there, and how did they get in? The questions swirled in my mind, each one more unsettling than the last. The logical part of my brain said to get out of there, call security. But another part, a deeper, more instinctual part, urged me to stay, to uncover the truth. But something kept me rooted to the spot. The desperate plea in that whispered word was impossible to ignore. It was as if the wind had woven a spell around me, binding me to that rooftop, compelling me to listen, to act. I knew I had to make a choice, and quickly. The fate of whoever was behind that whisper depended on it. I scanned the rooftop for anything that could help me open the hatch. A loose pipe, a heavy rock, but there was nothing. Just the cold concrete and the relentless wind. I decided to try the padlock. It was old and rusty, maybe I could break it. I kicked at it, pulled at it, but it wouldn't budge. Frustration was quickly turning to fear. I had to get help. As I turned to leave, I noticed something on the hatch. Scratched into the metal, barely visible under the rust, was a single word. Don't. My heart skipped a beat. Someone was definitely up there. And they didn't want me to open the hatch. But why? Just then, I heard the elevator ding. Thank God, security. I wasn't alone, or so I thought.
A figure emerged from the stairwell. It was John, the old janitor. He looked surprised to see Alex, but was it really surprise?
What are you doing up here so late, son?
John, you hear that? There's someone up there. Or something.
John squinted at the hatch, a strange look crossing his face. It wasn't fear exactly, more like recognition. What did he know? He stepped closer, placing his ear against the cold metal. He listened intently for a moment, then shook his head. But was he hiding something?
There's nothing there, son. Just the wind playing tricks on you. Or is it? But as they turned away, a shadow moved behind the hatch.
I was dumbfounded. But the whistling, the whispers, the words scratched on the hatch.
John sighed, a weary sound.
This building. It's got stories, son. Stories that'll chill you to the bone.
He leaned against the railing, his gaze lost in the city lights.
They say that years ago, a worker got trapped up there. During a storm, the hatch jammed and no one could hear his cries for help over the wind.
John continued, his voice low and somber.
They found him days later, after the storm passed, dead from exposure. Some say his spirit still wanders these halls, his cries for help echoing through the wind.
John's story sent shivers down my spine. Could it be true? Was the whistling I heard the desperate cries of a long-dead worker? I looked from the weathered hatch to the sprawling city below. The city lights suddenly seemed cold and uncaring.
Come on, son. Let's get you down from here. These rooftops aren't safe at night, especially not for those who listen to the wind's whispers.
He led me back towards the elevator, his hand on my back. Just as we were about to step inside, the whistling reached a fever pitch. It was deafening, and then with a sickening crunch the hatch swung open.
It can't be. It's just a story. We spun around, fear gripping us both. Standing in the opening was a figure shrouded in shadow. The only visible features were its eyes. 2 points of chilling spectral light that seemed to burn into our souls.
The figure took a step towards us, and a bone-chilling cold swept across the rooftop. The whistling stopped. The only sound was the blood pounding in my ears. We were trapped. The elevator was behind us, the only escape route blocked by this thing. We have to get out of here! I grabbed John's arm and pulled him towards the elevator, but it was too late. The figure moved with unnatural speed, gliding across the rooftop towards us. Its eyes never left us, burning with a cold, hungry light. We scrambled into the elevator, smashing the button for the ground floor. The doors slid shut, plunging us into darkness. I could hear the figure pounding on the elevator door, its rage echoing through the metal. The elevator lurched into motion, slowly descending. Each floor we passed felt like an eternity. When the elevator finally reached the ground floor, the doors opened to reveal nothing. The hallway was empty. The figure was gone. John and I stumbled out, gasping for breath. We were safe, for now. But as we made our way out of the building and into the cold night air, I couldn't shake the feeling that we weren't alone. And then I saw it. Scratched into the metal of the elevator door, barely visible in the dim light, was a single word. Thanks. My blood ran cold. It was a message from the figure, a chilling reminder that it was still out there, and it knew who we were. Just as I thought we were safe, my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. I'm closer than you think. My heart raced. We had to keep moving. What would you have done in my place? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more chilling tales.